What's up, guys? This is Corey with the Dirt City Gym, back with another deck profile for y'all. So I know it's been a while. We kind of do this, come back, do some videos, go away, come back, do some videos, go away. But really gonna start putting the effort in to try to get out more consistent content. I've been writing more articles a lot recently, and it's kind of gotten the juices flowing for wanting to do videos and everything like that. Kind of spread it out. And really, to be honest with you, the format for Dragon Ball right now is really fun. I'm really enjoying it. So I've kind of gotten just a lot more, I guess, passion or love for the game going on right now. So. With that being said, I wanted to revisit an old chestnut. So any of those of you who have followed, the channel for a while, or have seen any of my other videos, or read some of my articles and stuff, I've mentioned my love for Starterku, the leader from the Set 1 starter deck. He's always been my favorite leader, still is my favorite leader. He's kind of ebbed and flowed when he's been able to do well and everything like that. Obviously, Set 1, he was pretty good. Set 2, he was real good. Set 3, he really kind of died off. The format was kind of in a weird spot, and he just never really kind of acclimated to it. But right now, I feel like he's in a position to come back. Maybe not necessarily as strong as he was, like in the heyday of Set 2 and everything, when Starter Q was the thing and everyone's playing like blue-green Starter Q. But I really think there's an opportunity for him to come in and do some really good stuff right now. So we're going to get into the list. We are running a mono blue list at the moment. I mean, I say mono blue, we do have some red cards, but really the focus of the deck is blue. More traditionally, starter queue decks have been blue-green, taking advantage of getting into the 5 energy, being able to play results of training, get go tanks out, untap 2 energy, draw cards, swing with leader, draw untap more energy, draw cards, all that kind of stuff. Not much has really changed in the fact that we want to get to 5 energy. Once we get to 5 energy, the deck is live, and the deck gets extremely explosive once we get to 5 energy. Obviously, Super Saiyan 3 is really kind of the hype when it comes to untapped leaders and energy manipulation, but energy manipulation is Starter Q's thing, and there's a lot of tools to help him do that, to really excel at that. Whereas Super Saiyan 3 gets to play more. It does get to play aggressive because the fact that you get to tap out over your energy, play whatever you want, and then in a turn you untap your 3 energy, so you have energy on defense, so you're not getting punished for tapping out. Where Starter Q is untapping in the middle of the turn, so he's able to get more threats out on the board in one turn and really kind of go in for those power turns, kill turns, whatever you want to call them. And that's really where his strength has always lied in, being able to get to 5 energy and play multiple bombs in the same turn and just kind of go ham with that. So, like I said, let's get into the list. So first up, we'll start over here. We've got 2 Bodyguard Legic. Bodyguard Legic, obviously, it's a red card. We're never going to actually pay the energy to play him. He's our free blocker that we can put into play. He's 15,000, so he's a decent attacker. And what really is nice about Legic is he only costs 3, and what that really comes into play is when we get into the flute stuff, which we'll get into a little bit later, but he's another target for our legendary flute. Some really awesome plays with Legic is being able to play him for free, swing in, kill something on the board, or attack your opponent, flute him back to your hand, draw cards, and play him down again for free. Really cool stuff that you can do there. I've played around with more counts. 3 is kind of where I've maxed out on Legic, but I think 2 is probably a safer number to go with. Moving on from that, we've got 4 of our Unbreakable Sun Goku, so basically our combo Goku, like our second super combo or pseudo super combo, whatever you want to call it. It's just a really great card. Pretty much if you're running any kind of deck that relies on untapping energy or just having energy open on your opponent's turn, you want to be running this card. It's pretty much a staple now in just 90% of decks that are playing right now, so not really a lot to get into there. Next up, we've got 4 energy boosted Majin Buu. Again, a set 1 staple. You'll notice it's kind of a trend here. There's a lot of set 1 type stuff in this deck. It's kind of where Starter Q's base is. But Majin Buu's great. Just a 1-drop draw card, replaces himself in your hand. He's another flute target. Generally, I like to play more defensive with my flutes, but early game, being able to drop a Buu, flute him back to your hand, swing with leader, untap the energy, drawing all these cards and stuff is really nice stuff. And then at the worst, he's a blue energy or just a 5k combo on board or in hand. Next, we've got 4 boost attack Piccolo, or excuse me, our Piccolo super combo. I know Kibito Kai is getting a little bit more hype more now recently, but I still feel like Boost Attack Piccolo is the way to go for super combos. I just don't I don't see the value in Kibito Kai. Obviously, being able to bounce stuff is really cool, but not always being able to draw off your super combo, I don't like. I think it's kind of gross, so I boost attack Piccolo is just always the go-to blue super combo. Next up, we've got 4 Unyielding Trunks. So, Unyielding Trunks kind of goes in with our energy manipulation thing. Unyielding Trunks is a card that's been around since set 2 when Starter Coup was really big. It never really saw play in Starter Coup. It wasn't necessarily necessary. But now that we're having to be a little bit more aggressive, being able to make sure we're untapping multiple energies a turn whenever we pass in. So Unyielding Trunks works really well with that. It lets us extend our turns. Energy manipulation is the game with Starter Coup. So again, really lets us do that. Next up, we've got 4 Preface of Recovery Son Goku. This is again another really great card. So 3 comes into play, untap 2 energy, 15k with Barrier. He's a 3-drop, so he's a flute target. Really cool turns you can get once you get up to 4 energy in play. You can play Preface, untap 2, swing with Preface, like get rid of something on the board, pressure your opponent, flute him back to hand. You've tapped 3 more energy, play him again, or play a second one, not bounce the first one. Then you're left with 2 energy open. Then you can swing with your Starter Coup and untap 2 more energy and kind of have 2 15k barrier bodies on board without tapping an energy, essentially, because you're untapping everything with your leader. Again, really good pressure. Obviously, we're not in a Shugesh-dominated world, so the barrier is not as important as it was before. But if you're ever playing against things like Baby and things like that, where barrier is really important, he's a really great option to have. Just like I said, I'm more of a defensive flute player, so I like being able to clear the board and then bounce things back to my hand. And his Preface is a great target to bounce back to hand just because you can untap the energy and all that kind of stuff. Next up, we've got 4 of our combo Gohan. Again, kind of the same thing. He's just a great defensive card. Whenever your opponent's attacking you, while you're not drawing off of him, he's just a 110k with a body that comes on the board. He's also a flute target, so once you use him on defense to stop something on your turn, you can swing in with him, kill something on the board, attack your opponent, bounce him back to hand, and then you have him again to use on the next turn for defense. Then next up, we've got 3 all-cost Vegeta. He is really kind of the MVP of the deck. He's really the card that made me want to get back to playing Starter Coup. So essentially before, whenever we were playing Starter Coup, we were getting to 5 energy so we could play Results of Training. Results of Training let us awaken early at whatever life we were at the time, and then untap 4 energy. Also with Starter Coup, we were playing Gotenks. Gotenks costs 5, comes into play, untaps 2 energy, draws a card, 25k double strike. Vegeta, for me, really replaces both of those cards in the same one. So he's a 4-drop. Whenever he comes into play, you draw a card, and then you untap an energy. He's a base 20k, he's a 0-cost 5k combo, and then he's got the Activate Main once per turn. You may take 2 life. If you do, destroy one of your opponent's battle cards, and then this card gains Triple Strike and plus 3,000 for every 1 energy you have. You have to have at least 5 energy to activate this ability, just to clarify that. But so at 5 energy, once you're activating this, he becomes a 35k Triple Striker, that basically costs 3, and he's drawing you 3 cards off of his just come into play effect and then taking the 2 life. So really what we like to do with our Starter Coup is play extremely defensive. We're running objections and several negates and Sensu Beans and Gohans and things like that to really kind of last out so we get to 5 energy. If we're playing objection and we're getting it out early, we're getting that 5 energy on our turn 4, so we're really on a good curve there. And then whenever we go into at all cost Vegeta, we're awakening, or untapping energy with Vegeta, or swing with leader, untapping energy, kind of living the dream turns with this version of Starter Coup and at all cost Vegeta is getting the 5 energy, being able to play a Vegeta, take the life, awaken, untap the energy, play a Sensu Bean or Unyielding, play another at all cost Vegeta, take 2 more life, give him Triple Strike, play Foos and all that, and we can do this all in one turn and really just kind of go in. I've played games where at 5 energy, I've won the turn having 2 at all cost Vegetas, taking 4 life, Fu, multiple Preface of Recovery Gokus, and I've ended up drawing close to like 12 cards in one turn, which is just gross. And then just kind of swinging in with 2 Triple Strikers to kind of take over things. Really the kind of format we're in. Lots of people are really quick to take their life, whether they're doing it themselves, cutting themselves with the Trunks, or the Sand Kabbas, or Bardoks and things like that, or they're just willy-nilly, like whenever you swing at them, they're taking a life, which is great with us. We want them to take life. We want them to bring themselves down. 3 obviously is the perfect number. That way we can just swing in with Vegeta to win the game. But even if they get down to 4 or 5 just by themselves, we have enough resources where we can really just kind of whittle them down. If we're not winning with Vegeta, then dropping a Fu at the end of the turn and going in with the double strike there is another great way to end it. So moving on to that, we've got our Scientist Fu. So before Starter Q really played, Time Patrol Trunks was kind of the go-to, which Time Patrol Trunks is never a bad option, especially in this deck, because we can get our flutes, we can get our beans, we can get negates and everything like that. But we're really maximizing on those power turns, being able to drop him for 1 and draw our 2 cards and swing in with a 25k double striker. He's just a really great option. Again, there's several other options. We're not including a sideboard in the list that we're going over right now, but he's always easily sided out for Mass Sands or Banisher Fu from the new set that really do a lot of the same kind of value kind of stuff. Next up, we've got 4 of our Legendary Flute. I know everyone hates this card because it's so OP. I don't think it's that busted. It is strong, it is incredibly strong, and it has the potential to be really abused. But as I mentioned before, this deck is really using Flute more defensively. We're using it to bounce back our Gohans, to use them on defense. We're using it to bounce back our Legics so we have another free blocker. Bounce back our Boos, bounce back our Prefaces so we can untap more energy and things like that. Obviously we are abusing it to an extent, but not as crazy like dropping Kabbas and Trunks and Gohans and taking life and all that kind of crazy stuff. I think we're using it kind of mild-manneredly, which maybe is a mistake, but that's kind of how I like to use Flute. I'm not into the crazy taking a bunch of life, because coming from playing things like Starter Coup or playing things like Universe 7 Gohan, I know the power of letting your opponent go down a super low life and then just unleashing on them. So moving on, we've got 4 Senzu Bean. So at all costs, Vegeta, like I said, is MVP of the deck, and the next MVP of the deck has got to be Senzu Bean. Senzu Bean is now, always has been, always probably will be a great card until it gets kind of get power creeped out of here and we have a better version of Senzu Bean. But for the time being, Senzu Bean is just great. So it's a 1 cost, gives whatever card we attach it to 5 plus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn, and it untaps 2 energy. So again, on offense, this card is great for extending our turns, manipulating our energy, which is what we want to be doing, and then is really great on defense, especially in the meta that we're in right now, where a bunch of people are swinging with little 10k, 15k attackers and just trying to like chip away. Dropping a couple Senzu Beans on defense can really kind of put a halt to that and make them having to combo extra cards out of their hand to really deal damage with you, which isn't what they're wanting to be doing early. Right now, Veggies isn't seeing a lot of play, but if Veggies ever comes back into being more popular, Bean is a great way to stop Veggies, and really, if they're coming in with these 15k, 20k attackers, you just start dropping Beans, and they're kind of not being able to do too much. So Bean is just, like I said, just a great card. Next up, we've got 4 Whis' Coercion. Again, probably, I know you could maybe say Unending Awakening is the best negate, but I still feel like Whis' Coercion is still the best negate. Just being able to negate something for free, essentially, because we're only running blue energy, so we're not really worried about not having a blue energy, and then our leader untaps our energy, so we're not really worried about that. Like I said, we're really playing more defensively to get to 5 energy with the deck, so having multiple negates is a great way to do that. Moving on to that, we're running 3 Mafuba. So Mafuba could definitely be taken out of the deck if it's something you're not necessarily feeling. Like I said, I'm wanting to be more defensive, so having that extra Mafuba option is really great. Being able to take a threat and just put him away for a turn to hopefully win on the turn that he can't do anything is a great option. And just again, just another negate. 2 energy is not super bad in Starter Coup, because once we're awakened, that's what we're untapping anyway whenever we swing. Essentially, I'm always going to have energy open to me whenever I'm passing turn. So I'm usually going to have 2 to 3 energy open, so always plenty enough to run a Mafuba. And then finally, we've got 4 objections. So again, like I said, we want to get to 5 energy. Starter Coup doesn't naturally accelerate energy or anything like that, so objection is kind of important. So before, I was always hesitant running objection in Starter Coup decks because you don't draw necessarily a ton of cards with Starter Coup until you awaken and everything like that. But with the inclusion of Flute, we really kind of make up for that. We're able to draw multiple cards with Boos and Flutes and all that kind of stuff. So it really gives us those extra cards that we needed to make objection worthwhile. And it's great to drop an ejection on turn 2. That way you're kind of getting on curve early. Like I said, once you get to 5 energy, this deck is live. And once this deck is live, becomes increasingly more difficult to deal with, and it gets very scary. Being able to drop multiple threats in one turn while untapping energy and comboing up over with them and just building these boards that are really hard to deal with, and you can take your opponent down all the way to nothing in just one turn. It's just a really great aspect of Starter Q. That's why he's always been strong. And right now, I think we're in a meta or a format, whatever you want to call it, where you can really take advantage of things like that. Really, you have to get past the storm. And I know that's a pun because storm decks are the decks that are really doing well. But if you can get past it, if you can survive to get to 5 energy, then you can really do great things with this deck. If your opponent ever makes the mistake of tapping out against you, you can just kind of blow them out. Starter Q's really good at doing that, like I said, especially at 5 energy. The decks that kind of give us problems right off the bat. Mass Saiyan has the potential to give us a problem because we want to be drawing cards. And obviously we're not taking life super often, but if we're having to negate every single turn, then we're just emptying cards out of our hand. And we're negating because we don't want to take crit. So it kind of puts us at a weird situation. If we can get to 5, great. But it puts us where we don't really want to necessarily play objections because we're just losing cards out of our hand. So Mass Saiyan can give us problems. Cell historically has always given Starter Q kind of a fit, kind of depending. Cell is not being heavily played at the moment. Also, we have Flute and things like that to help us draw, and if they're going into Cell on turn 3 or turn 4, if we can keep an at all cost Vegeta, next turn we drop the at all cost Vegeta, take the 2 life, kill the Cell. We're drawing 3 cards right there, so we're kind of recovering. Fu definitely helps us recover from Cell a lot easier than we had before. So again, Cell, obviously, if they can get the Cell chain, drop the Mira, drop the Super 16 combo, and all that kind of stuff, there's all sorts of issues that Cell can give us, so it is something to watch out for. But like I said, I'm not expecting to see a whole ton of Cell decks. If they are, it's not with a green leader. It's probably going to be more with a Mira leader, so you don't have to worry about the 16 super combo, like really emptying your hand in nothing. We can recover from 3 cards, even 2 cards in hand, but recovering from no cards in hand is very difficult. And then finally, Apes. Apes are a problem if they get going quickly. They're definitely a problem main board. If we're in a best of 3 situation, we can sideboard the hell out of it to stop Apes. We can sideboard Banisher Foos. We can sideboard Bergamos, things like that, to really kind of give them fits where they're not doing a lot to us, and we can just kind of kill their Apes. 4-drop energy boosted Beerus from set 1 is a great option for against Apes. Like Banisher Fu is a great option versus Apes, all that kind of stuff. So we do have options sideboard versus Apes, but main board it can get hairy because they're a deck that wants to go long as well. They just have more defensive threats if they go long versus us. At all costs, Vegeta helps us, where we can get rid of blockers and things like that, but if they've got multiple blockers on the field, he's not as relevant unless we can get like 2 off in the same turn so we can get rid of multiples. But like I said, if Apes go ham, there's not a lot that can stop Apes once they go ham anyway. But like I said, you have the options with sideboard to really kind of help you deal with Apes. It's never necessarily a fantastic matchup in your favor, but you can definitely kind of swing it to more of a positive matchup. But anyway, guys, that is it for Starter Q. Like I said, I'm super hyped for Starter Q. It's always been my favorite leader. I'm not ever going to say that it is tier 0, tier 1. I think he's definitely fringe, though. He's definitely tier 2, and he has the potential to be kind of upper tier, kind of depending on how you build your deck. I'm preferring a mono blue build at the moment. That's been what's been doing me very well. I am still testing a lot of blue green. There's so many options with blue green, and especially having the access to like full power energy. Anilaza's great. Kami's power, Piccolo, the SR Piccolo is really good. There's a lot of options in green. But right now we just kind of gravitating into the mono blue. But guys, let me know what y'all think about Starter Q down below. Let me know what kind of decks y'all are building with Starter Q and all that good stuff. But other than that, we will see y'all next time.